On Tuesday, the Kenya Airlines Pilots Association KALPA called on the chief executive of Kenya Airways to resign on allegation of mismanagement and incompetence. This comes on the back of a call by Kenya Aviation Workers Union KAWU to have KQ match the salaries and benefits of their 1,000 non-unionized staff in customer care and finance departments, as well as cabin and ground handling crew with those of unionized staff. KAWU had given the national carrier until today to review the position and threatened to call for an all-inclusive industrial action that will further hurt the airline. The listed airline's management has termed the industrial action called for by the pilots unjustified and uncalled for at a time when the airline says the recovery strategy is bearing fruit. Kenya Airways said in a statement that the threatened action is already costing Kenya Airways significant losses as passengers have begun to make cancellations immediately. It will therefore be forced to stop selling tickets. The Cabinet Secretary for Transport, James Macharia, also warned that the strike would be considered economic and national sabotage and hamper efforts to stem losses at the airline. Meanwhile, the Vice President of the International Airport Transport Association for Africa, while appearing before Parliament's Transport Committee, said that the losses made by Kenya Airways are not unique to the airline and were experienced across the continent.
And for every single passenger that the U.S. airlines carried last year, they made a profit of $25 per passenger on average. For every passenger that the European carriers carried last year, they made a profit of $7.9. And for every passenger that the African airline carried last year, they made a loss of $6.
Koshi seemed to place significant blame on African governments for the poor performance of the aviation sector. High taxation, he says, is the reason some of them are raising their fares, which then results in reduction of number of flights, making them uncompetitive.
Airfares in Africa are about 42% more expensive than similar distances in Europe. And these are because of the high taxes. You know, in the aviation industry, the more you operate, the more frequencies you have, how regular, how effectively you keep your aircraft in the air reduces your fixed cost and helps you make profit.
Even as passengers anxiously await the end of this war of words, a senior government official told NTV that there was no announcement yet on any changes to the Kenya Airways board or management. In addition, a cabinet statement yet again directed all public officers to fly the national airline to support Kenya Airways. This is despite the fact that the directive is routinely ignored, with officials preferring to fly on other airlines even when Kenya Airways is a viable option. Hudheifa Aden, NTV Business.